What's up guys, welcome to Freedive Passion. Today I'm answering more questions from you guys. If you want the opportunity to ask a question yourself, head over to Instagram, follow us, and each Monday we give you the opportunity to ask a question on our story.
If I don't dive for a few months, will I lose stamina?
So it depends on really what you mean by stamina. If you mean the ability to dive repetitively without feeling uncomfortable, yes, probably you will start to lose that. But if you mean physical stamina, like will you start to become more tired on a dive, then the answer would be it depends what you're doing while you're not diving. If you're still doing other physical training to keep your body like fit and able to dive deep, then no, you won't lose any stamina.
Normally, I don't use a suit while training DNF in the pool. Should I use one?
So it depends on what your kind of purpose is for doing the training in the first place. If it's to train strength or another way to train your CO2 tolerance, then the suit's not really necessary. But if you don't wear a suit, you are creating a lot more drag, there's more resistance. So if you are interested in maximum performances, then a suit will definitely help you as it's going to make you more streamlined.
Which depth is good for charging your mouthfill if you're trying to dive to 60 meters?
If you have a good mouthfill, you should be able to charge at 10 meters and manage that amount of air all the way until 60. But it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to train managing the whole mouthfill, then you can take a mouthfill at 10. If you want to train topping up deep, then you can take a mouthfill at 10 and then keep topping it up until 30. It doesn't really matter so long as you can equalize to 60. Like exactly where you take the fill doesn't make any difference.
What's your opinion about fasting or restricting calories before a max static?
Yeah, fasting and calorie restriction, it lowers your base metabolism. So if the thing that's causing you to breathe, that's ending your max statics, is hypoxia, well, then definitely it's going to help to extend your hypoxic limit. Even if it's CO2, your base metabolism should be creating less CO2 if your metabolism is lower. So for sure, if you're really interested in increasing your max static, then definitely calorie restriction and fasting will help.
What training should we do to build a strong base?
So when we're talking about base, we're talking about high volume. You want to do a lot of training. So you need to think about what are the basic things that we need for freediving, okay? We need flexibility, we need CO2 tolerance, we need some hypoxic tolerance, we need some lactic tolerance, and we need good technique in the water. So we need to know how to move in the water. So you would train all of these things to a high volume. You would do it a lot, but to kind of a low intensity. So you would do it a lot, but without feeling like you're really stressing yourself or pushing yourself too much.
How can I equalize more gently and more frequently with ease?
The most simple way is to learn Frenzel. So if you find your equalization is hard and challenging, then almost for sure you just haven't quite mastered Frenzel yet. So definitely you need to learn how to do this, practice dry, build up your awareness. So when you do get a chance to go in the water again, it's going to feel much more simple.
How do I invent my own warm-up and get rid of it if it's not needed?
For me, I think people waste a lot of energy and waste a lot of time on the warm-ups. If you do want to warm up, and most people do feel like they need a warm-up, then in my opinion, you should do a warm-up, which is also some type of training. So if you struggle with management of your mouthfill, you could do a warm-up dive to 25 meters with a mouthfill from the surface. If you struggle with charging your mouthfill, then you can do a dive to 30 meters practicing your charge. Whatever it is that you struggle with the most, you can spend the warm-up trying to figure out these things. Now, if you want to be doing no warm-ups, then you need to train the whole time doing no warm-ups. You can't get used to diving with warm-ups in one moment and then all of a sudden drop it. If you don't want to do warm-ups, then you just train yourself to not need warm-ups anymore. But definitely if something comes up and you've been training for however long, years, with using your warm-ups, and then something comes up and you feel like you have to dive no warm-up, that's not going to work. If you want to start diving no warm-ups, you need to take the depth back again to something super comfortable for you to do with no warm-up, and then slowly build up the depth that you do on your first dive of the session until that depth is now a PB.
Do you think it's safe to do 5 dives to 50 meters with 8 minutes rest during a training session?
No, I definitely wouldn't do that. For a start, for the people I coach and for myself, the total meters depth that we'll do in a session is somewhere between 160 and 200 meters. So 5 dives to 50 would make 250 meters. So if we're just thinking about total depth, that's too much. Also, the absolute minimum time that you should have after a 50-meter dive would be 10 minutes. If you're going to do multiple repetitions of 50, so let's say between 3 and 4 repetitions of 50, then I'd try and have 15 minutes between each dive.
What are the conditions like in Dahab in December?
December is our autumn, it's the change of the season. So we get some really nice days, some colder days, it all depends on the wind. But you see tourists walking around in shorts and t-shirts, you see locals dressed as Eskimos. You can get either, you can be warm or you can be cold in the water. Right now I'm wearing 3mm bottoms with a 5mm top, and that's fine for me. The water's still 25 degrees, but it feels cold now, the wind is starting to feel cold. So if you come here and you want to be warm, 5mm. Alright guys, that's it for the questions today. If you'd like to ask your own question, then head over to Instagram, follow us, and on our story each Monday you'll have the opportunity to ask a question. Until next time guys, take it easy and dive safe.